Well, the series might be wrapped up for Team India, but plenty to play for both sides. New Zealand want to try and play for pride, get something back, and India looking for 5-0. On My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. We're going to try and make a sense of it all as the teams have moved to windy Wellington, to what they call the Cake Tin, the Westpac Trust Stadium, just on the almost on the outskirts, heading to the mountains on the outskirts of Wellington. But let's try and remember one fact, that the two heroes from the other night, a great game, Ken Williamson, Rohit Sharma, are both not in the 11. One from an injury, one rested, so that just makes it even more interesting. Gets a few new personnel in, but no new personnel in the studio. Our usual suspects, Zaheer Khan, Harsha, Bhogle. Sort of, I heard you mentioning minutes ago.
Yeah, we'll talk cricket, but I'm just looking at Gautam. He's got pink, yellow, black, maroon, blue, and brown. Which color have you missed out today when you got up this morning? Just like picking your team, did you say, okay, this color is dropped today?
Yes, well...
Okay, we'll talk cricket, sorry.
All right.
No, I mean, Gautam and I, by the way...
He was making his 11.
Gautam and I go back about 20, 25 years, so...
But, you know, before we started, you did mention that you were putting out the team. So your Twitter curse doesn't work when you predict the team.
No. Actually, this is the way I thought of it. I thought they'll give Samson a game today and Rishabh a game in the next one. See how Iyer goes, because he's still a young guy. You can't leave Iyer out straight away. So if Iyer has a good game today, maybe Rishabh for Iyer in the next game. And yeah, I thought with Shami always you want to preserve him. Bumrah's just come back after a while. So you want Bumrah to play as much as possible. I just thought Virat will open the batting and Samson will bat at 4 with Shreyas at 3. But Zaheer thinks that's not a bad idea to have Sanju Samson opening.
Yeah, he has opened in the past, so that's something must be the thought process. Also, adding if you're thinking of World Cup, you only have 15 slots, and Shivam Dube, the way he's going, they would want to continue with that. In T20, you've seen that you need that power at the back end. So I think that's the thought process Indian team is heading in. You have a power of Shivam Dube, and when Hardik is fit, he walks back in the squad, which gives you enough power at the back end. Because if you look at this team at the back end of the innings, you don't have 6 hitters. So your 6 hitters in T20 format is a very vital component of any playing
7.
Yeah, I think that's bowlers. And also the Australian conditions will favor seamers to a certain extent. So it's not a bad idea to have say 4 options if you can go ahead with. That also gives you flexibility of playing 2 of your wrist spinners, because you've seen with this Indian team, usually they've been focused on having that handy batsman at the lower order who can bowl also. So that is something which they're looking to achieve from this. I think it's an experimentation. It's not something which is like a long-term process, but they want to give it a try and see whether it can work and change the dynamics of the playing 11.
But talking of dynamics, I want to get a quick point in here about the body language, because all of us, when we look at the teams warming up, and we've done it for years, so I want to get the observer's point of view and the insider point of view. We try and judge from how they're warming up as to who's playing. It looked for certain that Rishabh Pant would be keeping, because he had the gloves on for a while. Then later on, he started bowling and having fun, so we knew he was not playing. Sanju Samson never looked as if he was playing. He was just having a chat with Virat Kohli on the sidelines.
So who keeps today? Obviously, Sanju Samson has to keep today, because he's the keeper in the side, whereas Rahul is the batsman who keeps. Or are they just looking at Sanju Samson as a batting option? They know that he can.
And they want to give Rahul more time
to
keep
as many games as possible to keep. So that will be interesting to see who keeps wickets today. But I'm going to be very interested in seeing how Sanju Samson goes up front, because as Zach says, if he can establish himself as a top order player, as an opener, it gives you a lot more flexibility. But also, I don't know what position he likes to bat at. I don't know anybody who doesn't want to open in T20 cricket, but I don't know what position he likes to bat at.
Well, as Zaheer said, he'd be comfortable. Let me just quickly finish the point there from an insider's. When you had a 15 on the park over there, did you ever give away the fact that you were playing or not playing unless there was a specific drill to go through?
Well, I think it's completely individual's call. You have your own routines. You have a team warm up. Usually, you've seen with teams these days they like to give playing 11 the warm up slot, and rest of the guys are just there to facilitate that warm up. But I think the fact that he was not doing much also means that he's relaxed. He has done his bit, whatever he needed to be doing in order to get ready for the game, and that's why he was looking calm and composed. Maybe he was giving the vibes which are more assuring to everyone and himself.
With the bowlers, it's a big giveaway. About 40-45 minutes before, they come out with a tape, tape and a paintbrush.
Yeah,
and everybody's got a paintbrush around the same place. So each guy has his own code. So either he puts an initial or he puts a smiley or something, because there's so many marks over there. So they come out with a tape and a paintbrush at the start. Anyway.
That's a giveaway. Shami, we knew for sure, with he had those little braces on his hands, we knew he wasn't going to play. But let's have a look at Sanju Samson's numbers, and it just begs an interesting question that if you're looking at the pecking order, now this is his domestic numbers. If you look at the averages, he got a double hundred as well in the list day, which is most interesting, and that's the one to look at. But forget the numbers. If you look at the pecking order, you're saying in terms of keepers, Rishabh Pant was technically your number 2.
Yes. So I don't know whether they're saying, okay, you play this game, Rishabh plays the next game. Sanju Samson keeps in this one, plays as a batsman next game, Rishabh keeps in that one. I don't know what the thought process is, because Rishabh at the top of the order was an option too, remember. So maybe they just think, look, Samson deserves some games, so let's give him a shot. Rishabh's had a lot of opportunities. I love watching Sanju Samson. But it's a little exasperating. It's a little like Rohit used to be at the start of his career. Sanju Samson plays the shots that you remember, and he'll make a 20, 30, and you think, wow, and suddenly, boop, he's gone. So I'd like to see consistency from Sanju Samson, which is starting to show in domestic cricket a little bit now. But if he's in, he'll play the shots to remember.
Yeah, I think, from Rishabh's point of view, it's obviously...
I don't know where he is. I don't know what he's thinking.
Communication to him. He seemed pretty relaxed out there. It could be just his outer persona trying to say that I don't care, fine, let me have a bowl, come on, let me get you guys out. But inside he must be feeling that, shouldn't I be out there?
Well, he has to wait for his chance. That's the way to approach it. And if you're not playing, you don't have to be frustrated outside. That goes with your individual personality again. What we're talking about, and Rishabh is that sort of a personality. He's burning inside. There is no doubt about it. You don't have to show it to the world that I'm dejected, I'm disappointed. It's just about waiting for that chance and making sure that when that chance comes along your way, then you have to grab it with both hands, and that's the only way you can deal with this kind of a situation. He's still part of the 15. So anytime he can get an opportunity, and that's the lookout one should have in these kind of scenarios.
Or of course, grab it with both gloves.
There you go. He could either say, look, first they made me a Test player, then they made me an ODI player, T20 player, then I batted at number 4 in the World Cup. Then I came back and became number 2 Test match keeper. What am I? Or he can say, yeah, I've had chances. Next time I get a chance, I'm wiser. I'll keep my chance. So I don't know what kind of person he is. Don't know him that well.
We also showed you the numbers for Sanju Samson in domestic cricket. The other difference, and the reason why we haven't put up Rishabh Pant's numbers, is because there are hardly any numbers to put up.
He's hardly played
any domestic cricket.
He's hardly played domestic cricket. At one point, I thought he'd be much better off going and playing cricket. Sometimes, I don't know, you know better. Sometimes coaches think he's much better off being around the national squad, where he's with the national coaches and the national trainer, and they can get him in rhythm, whatever, rather than send him off. Some people think he's better off going and playing Ranji Trophy cricket.
Or at the moment, you've got Mayank Agarwal and company who are involved in an India A game.
They send Rishabh Pant to play there, no?
That's what I said.
Because Ishan Kishan is keeping there. They could easily send Rishabh. India A is playing in New Zealand.
So they have a warm-up game after the series, right? So that's the game I think he will get before the Test series starts. But I think again, it's about keeping in rhythm. That's the most important. That match practice. Match practice, you can't beat it with anything. You can have hundreds of net sessions, but if you get that one match, to get into that zone, I would always wait against anything. So I think from that point of view, it's if they have the opportunity where they can utilize and ask Rishabh to go and play any of the matches, be it India A, it will be handy for sure, and that's something, which a new lookout should be added in terms of team's preparation. You know, you've seen teams in the past also doing that. You know, just to keep that match practice going, that rhythm going. If you have the chance of utilizing that opportunity, you should, I think, you know, and that's something which the board has been doing now in terms of sending the A side along with the team wherever they are touring. So I think, you know, they can plan it in that way as well, where the reserves players can go and play a match or two, you know, just to keep that rhythm going.
Exactly, and geography allows that, as Zaheer Khan just mentioned, purely in terms of the parts of the world that they're in. But just a quick look at New Zealand at the moment. Again, remember, there's been changes in both sides. An enforced change for New Zealand. Their talisman captain, Kane Williamson. The real reason is when you've been shouldering the responsibility of your nation, the shoulder does give away. So he's got a shoulder injury, has Kane Williamson. Captain is Tim Southee. Like-for-like replacement, Tom Bruce will bat at the top of the order when Kane Williamson does. And with no Colin de Grandhomme, it's going to be Daryl Mitchell coming in. So it doesn't matter who you look for. These are the two names who are coming in, Bruce and Mitchell.
Doesn't Mitchell bat higher up the order, or is he there?
No, he's
normally bats there.
Batting all-rounder, but yeah, he will probably bat ahead of Kugeline and maybe even Santner.
I wonder if they'll just send Seifert up to 3 and say, like, you opened the last time India were there, go and bat at 3, then play Bruce 4, Taylor 5, so that you're not disturbing that too much. But you look down that, and who's not in that list hits you much more than who's in it. And that's a worry for New Zealand.
It certainly is, and it's also a worry for all of you who have blindly put Kane Williamson in your My 11 Circle team, made him captain after the 90 plus the other night. Remember, he's not playing. Get your app, take him out of the team. Take Rohit Sharma out. Take Mohammad Shami out. Get Colin Grandhomme out. Get Ravindra Jadeja out. You've got to make your teams. You've got to remake your teams. That's the beauty. You've got 13 minutes or 12 minutes to do so, and you better do it really quickly if you want to score. And you also listen for the next few seconds to our My 11 Circle expert advice. Listen to these two gentlemen.
First of all, how many did you change after you heard the 11 quickly? Because we've not been giving you long enough answers for you to quickly get onto your phone and change.
I had preempted a few of them. I just had to put Samson instead of Rishabh Pant. So I had put Pant in my 11, but I had no Jadeja, I had no Shami, so I was fine.
We must tell viewers that there's great fun watching the game, but there's just as much watching Gautam's fortunes fluctuate when he's playing as well.
Yeah, it's called mood swings. But gentlemen, who are you plumping for today in terms of highest scorer, most number of points today?
I think
you've been getting it right.
Go with Sanju Samson. He has been around for a while. He's waiting for this opportunity, and he has waited long enough. So I think he'll be very keen to go out there and put a stamp on what his capabilities are. So yeah, I think go for Sanju Samson. You know.
So he's never taken the safe option so far.
No. I'd still go with form today. One boundary is very short, so I think KL Rahul today. If he can get some shots with a quick square boundary, he'd be my captain.
All right, I'm sticking to the person who actually is my captain, which is the captain of the side. I think he's just due
Southee,
for a
you
big
gone
one.
with Southee?
He's done enough.
You gone with Tim Southee?
Tim Southee did it. Yeah. No, after that super over, there's no Tim Southee, not even in my 11.
Listen, he always gets hit in super overs.
He does. Always double digits. Just once he's won them a game, and that's the only time he conceded 6 runs.
I mean, the other thing was Bumrah's numbers were so noticeable that day because he hardly ever fails.
Yeah.
You know, because he hardly ever fails, suddenly everyone's saying, oh, what happened? As we said, the champions are noticed when they fail. The ordinary players are noticed when they succeed. And suddenly Bumrah failed and we're all thinking, what happened there? You know, that tells you just how great Bumrah has been over the last couple of years.
Well, he was just granting 1/3 of Martin Guptill's wishes. If you heard him the other night, he said, if only Bumrah can give us 3 failures, we might just succeed. Well, Bumrah gave them 1. They didn't succeed. They tried everything today. They don't have Kane Williamson. Maybe that's the X factor. Maybe everybody else will turn up, the likes of Guptill, Munro and Ross Taylor. But from India's point of view, there is no Jadeja, so it's going to be Washington Sundar. And very interesting to look at Washington Sundar because we've seen him as a power play bowler. We've also seen him as a non-power play bowler. And we've got some numbers for you from December 2018. And if you have a look at his numbers when they fluctuate between bowling in the power play and not, there has been a difference.
You know, it's interesting. Zach, maybe you can talk us through this. The economy rates are interesting. Sometimes if you say, okay, he's bowling the first over, which is a cheap over, the economy rate comes down. But if he's bowling either 5 or 6, then he's still bowling a difficult over if he's bowling within the power play. And so 6.04 to 7.3, it's an interesting.
I think his comfort zone lies there. He likes bowling with the new ball. His strength has been that bounce and the variation of pace which he does on the ball. So that is something which has been his strength. So he feels more comfortable. Yeah, he's off spinner, but who's not really been relying on turn. He's a tall guy with a nice high arm action. He looks to utilize that bounce, and when the ball is nice and hard, you can actually have better utilization of that. So that one area which Sundar will have to now adjust and adapt. We've seen it with Deepak Chahar also. He's someone who has been predominantly a new ball bowler, but he had figured out a way now in terms of being versatile enough to be able to bowl in any kind of scenario and situation. So I think for Sundar, it's just that learning curve to adapt in terms of finding maybe the field placement which he can have, maybe the angles which he can change in terms of his approach. You've seen him bowling to right hander with the new ball sometimes around the wicket as well with the new ball. Just to get that drift going away, which makes it difficult for batsmen. With the slightly older ball, he'll have to figure out outside of the power play what are his options, and it's just a trial and error process. I think it's just about understanding what your strengths are and what kind of variations you can do with that.
It's interesting too. I was following the scores in the Vijay Hazare. Washington Sundar played in the Vijay Hazare Trophy for Tamil Nadu. Hardly ever bowled 10 overs, only bowled 3-4 overs and batted in the top order, either opened or batted at 3. So he played there as a batsman who bowled a little bit. So maybe this death over, the power play overs, is maybe just a strength that he likes with the ball drifting in, as he said, from round the wicket. There's a left-hander in there. He doesn't mind bowling to left-handers. Might be interesting.
But we've seen that a lot with players like him. Even Ashwin, when he came into the team initially in domestic cricket, he was really looked at as a batsman, always in the top order. And then, of course, he bowled a lot more than Washington Sundar. But the roles changed once he got into that key 11. But if you have a look at some of the key Indian bowlers, Zaheer Khan already mentioned Deepak Chahar. These are the Indian bowlers in T20I since Jan 2019. Jadeja right up there with the economy, but he always bowls in that consistent phase between 7 and 15.
Chahar has been the big standout in that, because he's actually now challenging Bhuvi and he's saying, I'm offering a little bit more than you at this stage. And that's why it was critical for him to learn to bowl at the death. And I think credit for that goes to Rohit to some extent.
Yeah.
I think Rohit told him that you are going to be playing Bumrah's role. So I'll only give you 1 over at the top. So I think Chahar in that game bowled 1, 10, 11, 18, 20, something like that. And that's when we saw that he could make the step up.
And there's only one way to learn things, isn't it? Unless you are put in that situation and you try experimenting and then figure out, okay, what's going to work, what's not going to work. If Chahar has been bowling with only the new ball and bowling that 1 over in those middle overs and not really bowling at the back end of the innings, he's never going to figure out how exactly the pressures of it, what he can do. What is the thought process? I think, for a bowler, it's very important when he is delivering one ball and walking back to the run-up. That's the time, when you're actually thinking about where the game is, what he should be doing, what are his options, who is on strike. So all those kind of things you cannot replicate in a net practice scenario. So having Bumrah out of action for a while, given the team also that opportunity of using someone else in that similar kind of role, and him and Saini were playing together. So Saini also has been pretty much new to the scene. So for him also he's on that journey of understanding his strengths, understanding his bowling a bit more. And Chahar was actually the one senior of the lot which actually made use of that chance which had come his way.
Interesting one in those numbers was Jadeja, wasn't it? Jadeja on top of that economy rate, but he bowls the good overs. But that's not a crime. That's not a crime, because sometimes bowlers become specialists in bowling in that area. So if India have bowled well 7 to 15, economy rate 6.25, he's giving a wicket almost every game, which is not bad. He's got 8 wickets in 9, 1 wicket a game, and economy rate of 6.25 bowling in those middle overs is fantastic. That's a role for him.
Yeah.
You can look at those numbers and say, yeah, but he bowled mainly in the middle overs, or you can look at those numbers and say, right, he's bottling up the middle overs for you.
Yeah.
It also means you've got to give credit to the bowlers, because if any of those matches had been against New Zealand, and certainly the last couple were, New Zealand themselves had problems in those middle overs. So yes, you can give credit to the bowlers, but you also have to say from the batting point of view, New Zealand have really their impact in overs 7 to 15 have really been limited. And in fact, even 7 to 10, as we've looked at over here, they haven't had a bad power play. I know we kept saying we want more from Munro and Guptill from New Zealand's point of view. They haven't done badly. It's the 7 to 10 that have cost them.
Zach, when you're sitting in the dugout,
Yeah.
I mean, one of our stats guy, producer, was just telling us, in 2 of those 3 games, they've lost a wicket in the 6th over. When you're sitting in a dugout, are you saying don't lose a wicket in the 6th over? Because then 7th is anyway slow, new batsman coming in. Could that be the reason that 7 to 10, each of the games, India have pulled it back?
Yes, wicket at any stage, I'm a big fan of that that belief that, if you get a wicket, you're going to have impact, because the next batsman has to walk in, he has
Get
to
4 or 5 balls at
understand.
least there.
Yeah, so you get that opportunity of putting the squeeze on at that stage, which has been happening. So getting a wicket always has that impact on the game. But it's about keeping the tempo going. So when you have that good power play, you have to keep the tempo going. And what has not been going in New Zealand's favour is that they've not been confident enough of taking the spinners on. So that is something, one area which has been their concern. We've time and again saying that Kane Williamson is the only guy who's looked like putting that pressure on the spinners, and in that phase of the game, Indians have been taking advantage of that fact. So these numbers are a reflection of that. I think it's just about not enough options available at New Zealand batsmen to put that pressure on after that 6 overs, that power play. Once it's done, the field is spread out, they don't have many options. So that's why they're just dragging the game at that stage, and in turn then putting the pressure on themselves to go hard from that 11 to 15 overs. And that's never easy with a quality bowling. So you actually creating that scenario and situation for themselves which they're falling prey to.
Well, interesting. India also had a similar fate when Sodhi and Santner bowling in tandem, but they had the back end to be able to accelerate and put on the good scores. We've also got Joy Bhattacharya with his teasers that he throws up like all the spinners do. The question is, how much of a teaser is it going to be for the game in Wellington today? So here's our Joy Factor question for T20 International number 4 in this series. In which batting list? He likes his batting questions. These are very batting friendly. Featuring just 15 people, does Desmond Haynes come in first place and a Hong Kong batsman in third? This is fascinating. So just 15 people feature in the batting list. I wonder if the number 15 is significant, because in lists, you often ask the quizmaster, is it an exclusive list? Are there less? Are there more people? This list features just 15 people.
So what Desmond Haynes was an opener, right?
So
what is the most difficult thing for an opener to do?
Maybe. He's giving too many clues, I think.
Yes, fair enough.
I think he's got it.
We've still got a very important part of the show going with the match about to begin, and that is our My 11 Circle expert couch clash. Who is it going to be today? India, remember, they do really well when they win or rather lose the toss and are asked to bat. So this is the time when they really come hard.
So straight boundary 75, 77 meters. One side short square boundary.
56, 57.
Yeah, miss it for 6 kind of boundary. 192.
192,
Well, I mean, Lakshman said on the pitch report, fabulous
It's
to bat.
good.
So I'm going with him.
Okay, then I'm going 200.
192.
I'll go with Lakshman. I trust Lakshman too much.
Fair enough. We all do. We all love him, but he's not going to be out there batting. So I'm going to go a good score, but just a little bit lower with the hitman missing from the lineup. So I'll go 177.
Okay.
177.
I think you've got a good score. Anyway, let's see.
But still, 177, we expect whatever India put on, they've got the resources to try and restrict it. It looks like a fascinating contest ahead. We'll reassess in the 10th over with Cricbuzz Combox, and of course we ourselves will be looking for India's power play to be maximised. This has been My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. We'll see you soon.